Well, a very good morning, ladies and gentlemen. A warm welcome to the grand finale of the Semiconductor Roundtable Series 2025, hosted by the Indo-American Chamber of Commerce, IACC, in association with the U.S. Consulate General, Mumbai. Special thanks to our knowledge partner, Shardul Amarchand Mangaldas and Co. for their insightful contributions to this series. So let's give all ourselves a huge round of applause for being present here. Over the past few months, this landmark series has taken us across India, from Mumbai to Nagpur, Pune, and Ahmedabad. And today, we are delighted to bring it full circle here in Mumbai. We are honored to be joined by an esteemed gathering of dignitaries from government, industries, academia, and the global semiconductor ecosystem, including senior officials from the U.S. Consulate, the Government of Maharashtra, and the Government of India. A very special welcome to all our distinguished guests, speakers, and delegates. We have an engaging morning ahead, featuring inspiring keynote addresses, the exclusive launch of the IACC Semiconductor Whitepaper, and a high-level fireside chat exploring blueprints for the future, building India's fabulous and deep tech semiconductor ecosystem. We invite you to sit back, engage, and be part of shaping these conversations that will define India's semiconductor future. Before we begin, I would like to invite a few dignitaries on stage for the lighting of the lamp, beginning with Mr. Saurabh Shah, Chairman, IACC National Committee on Ease of Doing Business. Welcome, sir. Mr. A. Sekhar, National President, IACC. Mr. Nilesh Vikamse, Regional President, WIC, IACC. Ms. Radhika M. Dudat, Partner, Shardul Amarchand Mangaldas and Co. Welcome, ma'am. Mr. Mike Hankey, Consul General, U.S. Consulate General, Mumbai. Dr. P. Anbalagan, IAS Principal Secretary, Industries, Government of Maharashtra. May I now invite our esteemed dignitaries for a ceremonial lamp lighting to mark the auspicious beginning of today's event. I also request Mr. Anup Acharya, IACC Executive Vice President, to please join us for the lighting of the lamp. I would also request our IACC past national presidents and past regional presidents to kindly join the dignitaries for the lighting of the lamp. Keeping in touch with the Indian tradition, you can see Mike taking off his shoes. That's very respectful of you, Mike. Thank you so much. Let's give him a huge round of applause. Thank you, dignitaries. We will now have the national anthem. So requesting everyone to please rise from their seats.
Janagana mana adhinayak jaya hai, Bharat bhagya vidhata. Punjab, Sindh, Gujarat, Maratha, Dravida, Utkala, Banga, Vindhya, Himachala, Yamuna, Ganga, जलधि तरंगा तव शुभ नामे जागे तव शुभ आशीष मांगे गाए तव जय गाथा जन गण मंगलदायक जय हे भारत भाग्य विधाता जय हे जय हे जय हे जय 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 हे.
Thank you, everyone. You all may be seated, please. We take this moment to extend our sincere gratitude to our sponsors and partners who made this series possible. Our gold partners, Maharashtra Industrial Development Corporation, MIDC, Kotak Mahindra Bank Limited. We'd also like to thank our event partners, Amity University, Anand Rathi Wealth Limited, Araya by Aza, Ashibo Lifestyle.com, Bharat Diamond Bourse, Bharat Reinsurance Brokers Private Limited, CISP Services Private Limited, Flame University, Maharashtra Institute of Technology, MIT Mumbai, RRP Electronics Limited, Software Technology Parks of India, STPI Pune, Yashoda Healthcare Services Private Limited, Reliance Securities Limited. Let's give all our supporters a huge round of applause. Thank you so much, partners. A few words about our welcome addressee. He is currently the chairman of the National Committee on Ease of Doing Business at the Indo-American Chamber of Commerce, IACC, and a member of its National Executive Council. He has also served as the past regional president of IACC for the West India Council region. He is recently selected to represent India at the G20, B20, South Africa 2025 as a member of the Task Force on Education and Employment. Professionally, he is the CEO of MS Universal Business and Corporate Services Center, UBCSE, a consultancy firm offering comprehensive business solutions to both Indian and international enterprises. Ladies and gentlemen, kindly get your hands together in welcoming Mr. Saurabh Shah, Chairman, IACC, National Committee on Ease of Doing Business. Welcome, sir.
Good morning, namaste. On behalf of the Indo-American Chamber of Commerce, IACC, it is my pleasure and privilege to welcome you all to the finale of the Semiconductor Roundtable Series 2025, Forging India-U.S. Innovation, here in Mumbai, the capital of magnetic Maharashtra. We extend a very warm welcome to the esteemed dignitaries on the dais, whose presence underscores the strategic importance of this initiative. And I sincerely thank you all for being part of this pivotal moment in India's semiconductor journey. Thank you, sir. We are also honored to have amongst us Dr. Jared Monchand, Policy Advisor, Officer of the Special Envoy for Critical and Emerging Technology, U.S. Department of State, who has flown down to Mumbai to grace this occasion. Thank you, sir. Thank you very much. We are privileged to have amongst us the Consulate General of foreign countries, senior representatives of diplomatic missions in India, and leadership of the International Chambers of Commerce. Your presence reinforces the global interest in India's semiconductor transformation and our shared commitment to foster innovation and collaboration. Thank you so much. Ladies and gentlemen, the National Committee on Ease of Doing Business of the Indo-American Chamber of Commerce plays a pivotal role in this mission by facilitating industry-government dialogue, identifying regulatory bottlenecks, and advancing recommendations to enhance India's business climate. Through focused roundtables, knowledge-sharing platforms, and targeted advocacy, we aim to unlock India's economic potential region by region, sector by sector. As India charts its journey towards Viksit Bharat at 2047, the semiconductor sector has emerged as a foundational pillar powering everything from AI and mobility to defense and consumer electronics. Friends, semiconductors are at the heart of tomorrow's innovation landscape. Recognizing this, IACC launched a 4-city Semiconductor Roundtable Series in this year, 15 January 2025 in Mumbai at the US Consulate office, on 28 February in Nagpur, 28th March in Pune, and on 25th of April in Ahmedabad, in collaboration with the US Consulate General Mumbai and our knowledge partner, Shardul Amarchand Mangaldas and Company. These forums brought together key stakeholders from government, industry, academia, and the investor community to shape an actionable roadmap for India's semiconductor future. Today marks the culmination of that journey, a moment where collective ideas evolve into shared purpose and strategic alliance begin to take root. Guided by the theme of a convergence of policy, innovation, and investment, we will be releasing today a white paper capturing the insights, challenges, and actionable roadmaps that emerge from these deliberations. It will be presented to both the central and the state governments with the intent to recommend policy direction and catalyze India's ascent as a global semiconductor powerhouse. Friends, I would like to acknowledge and recognize the presence of Mrs. Rajya Lakshmi Rao, past National President, IACC, Mr. Naushad Panjwani, past Regional President, and Mr. Pramod Shah, Senior Member of IACC and President of Bombay Management Association, for gracing this occasion. To the Government of Maharashtra, sir, I would like to reiterate that IACC is deeply committed to supporting your bold vision. Maharashtra remains a preferred destination for high-tech investment, and we stand ready to contribute meaningfully towards making the state a global semiconductor innovation hub. This finale, friends, is not a closing ceremony. It is a launchpad for next phase of India's semiconductor transformation. The future is being etched in silicon. Semiconductors are not just chips, they are building blocks of a digitally empowered, self-reliant India. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for gracing this occasion, and a very warm welcome to all of you. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Mr. Saurabh Shah, for that wonderful welcome address. Our next addressee is a graduate in electrical and electronics engineering, and he is also a postgraduate in business management. He is the first-generation entrepreneur with 4 decades of experience. His organization, MS Spike Power Protection Systems and Technologies, was responsible for bringing in the US-based electrical equipment organization, MS ERICO, to India in 1996 to establish their sales and distribution facilities. His organization also has interests in renewable energy and operates wind energy turbines to supply green power. He has been involved with social service organizations like the Rotary International, and also he runs charitable trusts that empower the marginalized students for education. He has been active with MS Indo-American Chamber of Commerce, IACC, for over 15 years and has been the branch chairman of Tamil Nadu and Southern Regional President. Ladies and gentlemen, get your hands together in welcoming Mr. A. Sekhar, National President, Indo-American Chamber of Commerce. Welcome, sir.
Good morning. Thanks for those kind words. Good morning to all the esteemed dignitaries, industry leaders, government officials, guests, and my dear friends. It's a great honor for me to speak at this occasion. This is the grand finale of the series of Semiconductor Roundtable discussions with Saurabh Shah started. Let me introduce a little bit about IACC, because IACC was established in 1968 and has been in the forefront of deepening the economic partnership between India and the United States. We are present all over the country. We have a membership base of over 1,800 companies from diverse sectors. It serves as a pivotal platform for facilitating dialogue, advocacy, and collaboration between these two nations. Semiconductors are no longer just components. They are a foundation on which every future-ready technology is built. Whether you call electric vehicles, 5G networks, artificial intelligence, aerospace, defense, this semiconductor industry will define India's competitiveness in the global arena. This sector holds promise not only in economic growth, but of strategic technological sovereignty. Building a resilient and self-sustaining semiconductor ecosystem is a complex challenge. It needs multi-stakeholder approach, bringing together government policymakers, industry pioneers, academia, global partners. And it requires sustained commitment of clarity of vision and collaborative execution. This is where our strong bilateral ties between India and the United States becomes indispensable. The US has always been a leader in the semiconductor industry, innovation especially. Their shared values of innovation, democracy, and economic openness creates our partnership. On behalf of IACC, I want to express my sincere appreciation and thanks to the US Consul General of Mumbai, Consul General Mike Hankey. Their support, guidance, partnership has been very crucial for us to make this roundtable series a success. This collaboration underscores the strength of our bilateral ties and our mutual desire to nurture the semiconductor ecosystem. Over the course of series, in fact, they started it out in their own office in Mumbai. Then we moved to Pune, Nagpur, and Ahmedabad, where we witnessed meaningful dialogue and valuable exchanges. These exchanges have actually culminated into creating a white paper which identifies our key opportunities and challenges and also outlines our actionable policy recommendation. This white paper reflects our collective wisdom, and I have to thank and the commitment of the government leaders like Dr. P. Anbaragan, Principal Secretary Industries, Government of Maharashtra, who has championed this cause of building a world-class semiconductor ecosystem in this state. It reflects the inputs of industry stalwarts, academia, and thought leaders. This embodies the spirit of public-private partnership. I have to definitely commend Mr. Saurabh Shah. When I asked him to champion the national team for the ease of doing business, he not only came forward, he took a challenging one of doing this on a very apt area, because what India and US were looking for in semiconductor, quantum technology, quantum computing, and on telecom, in which he took up this one, which is very important for all these. And I have to tell that how sort of his visionary movement to see that, put up a paper, bring all the stakeholders together so that we could submit something to the government, because we are at a threshold where we want to build this really big. We recognize that this semiconductor is not just technology or investment. It's about nurturing an ecosystem that encourages innovation, fosters talent, and strengthens the supply chain, creating jobs and opportunities for millions of our Indians. We are a young country, aspiring youth who want to have meaningful jobs and a great life to go on. We are committed to play an active role in this journey. We leverage our platform to facilitate collaboration, advocacy, and knowledge sharing. We will continue to engage closely with the government bodies, industry partners, and international allies to create an environment where India's semiconductor ambitions will thrive. As we look ahead, let us remember the future of India's semiconductor ecosystem is not a distant dream. It's a pressing imperative and demands our collective will and action. Together, India and the United States can lead the way in innovation, economic growth, and strategic partnership. This Roundtable Series, Semiconductor Roundtable Series 2025, is a shining example what can be achieved when vision meets collaboration. I urge all the stakeholders to continue this momentum beyond today's event. This is just a launch pad, as Saurabh said. We have to align our policies, invest in infrastructure, build talent pipelines, foster innovation systems that can compete globally. Let us seize this opportunity to make India not just a participant, but a leader in the global semiconductor value chain. Thank you all for the continued support and dedication to this transformative mission. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. A. Sekhar, for that wonderful address to our august audience present here. A few words of introduction about our keynote addressee. He has served as Consul General at the U.S. Consulate General Mumbai since August 8, 2022. A career member of the Senior Foreign Service, he has held key diplomatic roles across the Middle East and South Asia, including Deputy Chief of Mission in Amman and Head of the Palestinian Affairs Unit in Jerusalem. Since joining the Foreign Service in 2001, he has advanced U.S. political, economic, and media engagement in countries like Egypt, Iraq, Yemen, and Nigeria. Fluent in Arabic, French, and Tamil, he holds degrees in international affairs and language education and has a background in journalism and public affairs. Ladies and gentlemen, get your hands together in welcoming Mr. Mike Hankey, Consul General, U.S. Consulate General, Mumbai.
Thank you very much. India and the U.S. are blessed with visionary leaders. We've got Prime Minister Modi, President Trump. They've got a deep personal friendship. They have an ambitious agenda for each of our two countries and jointly for the world. Just like in the first administration of the Trump administration, very quickly they've renewed that friendship. On February 13th at the White House, Prime Minister Modi, President Trump, they issued an ambitious joint statement called Compact. It's an acronym that encompasses what can be done on technology, military and defense, advanced materials and science collaboration. They set an agenda and an expectation for all of us, what we could do next. Vice President J.D. Vance came to India 2 months ago in April, and he renewed that on a 4-day visit across India, underscoring the importance and the potential of what we can do across our industries, including very much in the semiconductor industry. So now we have a challenge in front of all of us. How do we realize this ambition? Luckily, we have two countries that are founded in similar principles, two countries that share the same first 3 words of our constitutions: we the people. So, we the people who are here today, who have been here in a series of workshops across India, Western India in the last 4 months, we can be that solution. Where do we take semiconductors next? How do we move forward? I'm really proud to have collaborated on that with our partners from SAM. Radhika, thank you. From IACC, Saurabh, thank you. From the Consulate, all my team members who are here. Thanks to all of you for helping us realize this ambition and vision of our leaders. It's a big task to think about advancing the semiconductor ecosystem. It's not easy. It's a complex ecosystem that takes billions of dollars and often decades of expertise to refine. You have to build supply chains of people, supply chains of talent, materials and input, supply chains of resources and research, and then equally an offtake ecosystem to use what you have. We're committed from the US government side to making every part of this possible. We've got research partners like Purdue University that are out here in India making investments into advanced technology and research. We've got partners from US academic institutions that are working on skilling to help create a pipeline of technically savvy workers. We've got development finance. We have private sector finance coming to the table. And crucially, we have government partnerships, like with Dr. Ambalagam and others across Western India, where we're making these connections to achieve our goals, diversifying supply chains, ensuring business and commercial opportunities for people in both of our countries, and generating that shared mutual prosperity that we're looking for. That's the goal going into the future, but it's not going to be easy. What I appreciate about each of the sessions that we've been at, and I've been at 2 of them out of the 4 across Western India, is that IACC has brought together key industry players and government to talk very candidly about specific next tasks in front of us. We know that Maharashtra is a great place to do business. We don't need to be convinced of that. We know that India has a talented workforce, and we know that together India and the United States can build this diverse supply chain on a critical issue like semiconductors that we seek. The question is, how are we going to address specific areas of finance? How are we going to address specific areas of industrial policy? How are we going to ensure that companies have that ecosystem that they need? We need to hear candidly from companies and government about that, and then set a clear path forward. And that's what this white paper that's going to be released today is going to achieve. I'm confident that if we follow these specific instructions, we're going to achieve that vision that our leaders have set out for us. And ultimately, we, the people, are going to be part of that prosperous shared future. I look forward to it. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Mike Hankey, for that wonderful keynote address. Moving forward, we now have our knowledge partner addressee. She's currently a partner at Shardul Amarchand Mangaldas & Co. in the General Corporate Practice Group and specializes in the areas of corporate governance, compliance, regulatory, and legal risk management for complex transactions and sensitive situations. She also advises on real estate transactions, greenfield and brownfield projects, and on governance and ESG advisory and strategy for companies, the boards, KMPs, and promoters. She also sits on the board of various listed as well as private limited companies, which are spread across diverse industrial segments and business verticals. Ladies and gentlemen, kindly get your hands together in welcoming Radhika M. Dudat, partner Shardul Amarchand Mangaldas & Co.
Good morning, everyone. I'm going to keep my sharing very brief, simply because there is so much that we have coming up ahead. I just wanted to share my experience as a part of the knowledge partner for this series. One of the things that we discovered during the series is, first, that we were extremely grateful to be a part of it, because as lawyers, as you may all know, we do come across a lot of industries, wide sectors, different disciplines. But this was one industry that really took us by surprise for a simple reason that we realized there was so much about it that is not known, and we are all discovering it together. There are, of course, market leaders, industry leaders, but as far as India is concerned, the entire ecosystem is being built right now. And to be able to have these roundtable conferences where we could interact with the industry, especially the government officials, the US Consulate, as well as the other educational and other technocrats, gave us great insights in this. My only single pointed observation is that this industry is going to get us to be the best version of ourselves, because it's a highly demanding industry in terms of work, in terms of quality, precision, requirements, standards, and the entire supply chain, not just the fabricators, but the supply chain is going to require to really do their best in every aspect to really qualify for what really is in store. So I'm quite looking forward to this journey and hope to contribute to it in whichever way we can. We are grateful to have been given this opportunity to partner with Indo-American Chamber for the US Consulate to be able to give us this opportunity and to work with everybody here. So thank you so much, and look forward to continue to support such endeavors. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Radhika Dudat, for that wonderful knowledge partner addressee. We now move to a key highlight of today's event, the release of the IACC Semiconductor Whitepaper, a result of our multi-city roundtable series. Requesting all our dignitaries to stand together for the release moment and the photo op. I would also like to call on stage Mr. Anup Acharya, IACC Executive Vice President, to join us for this release. Just a minute. Let's have a photograph. Yes. Together, yeah. Thank you. Once again, let's have those round of applauses, ladies and gentlemen. Continue to be seated, dignitaries on the stage. I would now like to invite our chief guest for his address. A small brief introduction about our chief guest. He is currently an IAS officer of the 2001 batch Maharashtra cadre and is currently the Secretary of Industries Department, Government of Maharashtra, overseeing industrial development, policy formulation, and investment promotion with a focus on reclaiming Maharashtra's top position in FDI. An alumnus of Madras Veterinary College and NDRI Karnal, he has held key roles including Chairman and MD of Maharashtra State Power Generation Company Limited, managing India's largest state-run power utility of 13,220 megawatts. With 24 plus years of service, he has served as CEO and joint CEO of MIDC, also the member secretary of MPCB and collector of Ahmednagar, among others, playing a pivotal role in Maharashtra's economic and infrastructural growth. Ladies and gentlemen, kindly get your hands together in welcoming Dr. P. Anbalagan, IAS, Principal Secretary Industries, Government of Maharashtra. Welcome, Doctor.
Good morning. Respected Mr. Saurabh Shah, Chairman, IACC, National Committee on Ease of Doing Business, and respected Thiru A. Sekhar, National President, Indo-American Chamber of Commerce, and our beloved friend, His Excellency Mr. Mike Hankey, Consul General, U.S. Consul General, Madam Radhika, and Mr. Nilesh Vikamsi, CGs from other countries, staff officers from U.S. Consulate, my friends, my colleague officers from the Government of Maharashtra. I extend my heartfelt gratitude and greetings to IACC and U.S. Consul General to be making us part of this entire endeavor of doing a series of roundtable on semiconductor, and also be in the fag end of, I would say, the terminal end of the event. I do have like a fireside chat, so a lot of things I'll be sharing in that. So I'll be making a very, very brief note of what exactly the state and the nation is intending to do in this sector. We look at the market close to like $4 trillion, basically electronics. Out of that, semiconductor comes to around roughly 625 billion. That is what like current statistics, and the semiconductor is going to be touching $1 trillion USD by 2030. And traditionally, we know Taiwan, South Korea, and Japan, and of course, US is now playing a dominant role. We do have like 3 or 4 companies having a like technological partnership with US technological partners. Is going to play a pivotal role. India, though, is like with a modest, I would say, the share of, I would say, 3.6% in the entire gambit of like electronics. When you look at state, like a country's GDP, the electronics component, particularly ESDM, comes to around roughly 2.5%. If you look at the numbers, again, it's like a very modest, but we are looking at almost triple the ESDM component in another like 3 to 4 years. And what exactly the country is aiming to do, play a dominant role. Again, I would say like maybe by 2030, in entire semiconductor ambit, country will be contributing close to 10%. So that is a number which we are aiming to. Maybe beyond 2030, there is lot of things, because the ecosystem will be much matured by 2030. Even this 10% is like very easy target to achieve. If you look at the Union Budget 2025, there are 3 schemes predominantly Ministry of Electronics and Information Technology announced. For basically EMC manufacturing, you have a fab, and also for a semicon campaign, roughly close to around 2 lakh crore, precisely 1.8 lakh crore, and of course, you have a supplementary other things, so roughly it is also going to increase, and the budget is going to be like over, when the period is going to be over, probably we are going to get more. So we look at the actual increase, it's close to around 50%, 48% of the increase in like typically when we look at the earlier budget. That is what the thrust which the country is looking at. When you look at the state, Maharashtra, which is dominant, which plays around somewhere between 10 to 15% of everything. You look at the area, it contributes close to 10% of the total geographical area of the country. If you have the population, same like 10 to 11%. When you look at the export, when you look at the GDP, it's close to around 15%. When you look at the industrial productivity, it's close to around 20%. When you look at the export, it's close to 1/5. So that way, it's a powerhouse, I would say, a manufacturing house, financial services, and Maharashtra is going to absolutely going to play a very pivotal role. And Maharashtra, known for its like policy continuity, and absolutely a free, I would say, as far as law and order is concerned, ecosystem is concerned, political leadership is concerned. I would say, whatnot, the continuity is there in the policy. I would always say the commitment given by any government over a period of maybe 5 decades, 6 decades is always honored by any government coming in another 5 decades. That is what the continuity the state is aiming to. I mean, look at Maharashtra also predominantly anything to do with like electronics and electrical. If you see an IC market, it's close to around 35% is from that. Anything to do with electric vehicles, the entire supply chain of the country, almost close to more than 20% is situated in only the 4 or 5 locations, like starting from Navi Mumbai, Pune, Nasik, then Chhatrapati Sambhaji Nagar and Nagpur. These are the 5 places where you have all the, I would say, an ecosystem. Of course, there are places like Kolhapur, Sholapur also predominantly contributing to that. And we look at consumer electronics and semiconductor devices, it's close to around 20% is a contribution from the state. So that way, state is a dominant player. There are 3 or 4 states which the country boasts to that. Maharashtra is one among that, top 3, I would say. Look at the number of units which the state has, close to around 1,500 units. They are all registered units. There are like smaller units which may not be having a registration, but 1,500 units are there for like electronics and electrical manufacturing, which is accounting for 17% of the total electronic, I would say, manufacturing units in the country. I would say almost 1/5. So that is what the ecosystem which is already existing in the state. And again, it is available in like Pune, Nasik, Nagar, Nagpur, Ahmednagar and Mumbai. And we also coming up with an electronic manufacturing cluster in Ranjangaon Phase 3, where IFB, all consumer electronics are putting up their plants. Some of the plants have commissioned. And Ranjangaon, Talegaon, Chakan, Pimpri-Chinchwad corridor, and even from like Ahilya earlier as well, Nagar, and you extend to like Sambhaji Nagar as well, Aurangabad. This entire corridor is like an electronics corridor. And you look at any, name a company for the country as a whole, they supply either parts or either OEM. There are two policies which the state predominantly looks up to support this electronics as a sector, and we have every state has a state industrial policy which predominantly drives through I would say like package scheme of incentives, which normally gives IPS, like investment promotion subsidies. They are normally, earlier we used to have a VAT refunds, now it's like a GST refund. So GST refund is predominantly a GST refund. For a mega project, for like a standalone customary conventional industry of manufacturing and electronics, there is a 10x difference. For example, I would say if you invest around 10,000 crore, you will be labeled as a mega project. But whereas in the electronics, you invest somewhere between 100 to 200 crores, depending on the area, you are labeled as a mega, like we say, a mega project. So the mega project indicates that you will be able to draw almost 100% of your whatever fixed capital incentive in the form of various incentives, starting from stamp duty and exemption and power duty. Some places also there is a flexibility of like power tariff charging. Basically, there are 1 to 3 rupees depending on the, again it's like a customized package. If there are any bigger units, particularly if you have like a fab or maybe OSAT, absolutely you need a lot of electricity, and state is looking at also like incentivize power tariff as well. And with states predominantly coming in like as a dominant player in advanced computing, I would say cloud computing and data centers, and state is also looking at to set up an innovation city in Navi Mumbai. This sector is going to have a lot of customers to buy, basically. Even if you look at the domestic demand, I think we are all from the industry, the domestic demand for that itself, like we should be able to generate a lot of demand for the growth, leave alone the export. That is a secondary. Even the domestic, even if we can cater to the domestic requirement with like aspiring middle class, every third year I am changing my mobile. Every third year everybody changes their tablet. Third year I am changing my maybe a watch. So that way lot of like a great scope to improve that way. So the new policy, second policy which we are looking at, the policy which is currently in vogue is like I would say 2016 electronics policy, where fab has a capital, like I would say, capital subsidy. There are two companies which we have already given the capital subsidy, I would say to the tune of roughly around what? One company is investing close to around 25,000 crore, so 30% is given. So for another 10 years, government will be spending almost 7,500, almost I would say what? If it is like 2,500 crore, close to 6,000 crore for only company. Every year we will be spending 600 crore only for one company. And you will all surprised to know where is the location. It's a Ratnagiri. Already the company has started, is given a land and it started recruiting almost 500 engineers they recruited. So they are going to invest close to around 25,000 crore, and they have a technological partner from United States of America. It's the right way, but the only thing is because we have an NDS, we will not be able to disclose the company's name. Probably once this is done, once the groundbreaking is done, of course you will be able to know that. And second, surprise to say, again our one good friend from like Oragadam, Chennai, is also setting up a facility in Mehon and Nagpur. So all the way from Chennai to Nagpur. So not small amount, again a 10,000 crore. I think Sekhar must be knowing that. So there also we have committed 30% of the capital subsidy. So the fab and semiconductor OSAT, you have like a great chance, and you have like another, you also draw more than 110% of your GST refunds you are able. Even if you have like 20-25% of the sales customarily. So normally every state allows you to draw the incentives for 5 years, 7 years. We allow you to draw up to 20 years. Almost you're going to do almost, and it's more like a government's company. Government is giving you 100% of the capital and you are running it. Only operations are being taken care of the company. That is what the level of capital the government is infusing. So that way, third is like a state, there are only 3 or 4 states which can boast of a skilled workforce. See, we have a close to 1,100 ITIs, which really is a need of the, which immediately you can like employability, you can upskill them immediately for the electronic industry, for a fab or OSAT. That is another area. And the state churns out 1 million post-10+2 students, I would say, here 11th and 12th are also called as a colleges, junior colleges. I would say college pass out 1 million people. There are like smallest countries in the world. 1 million people we churn out every year as a qualified workforce. And you have a readily available almost close to around 4 million people are readily available to be employed that way. And the state has a state innovation society, and the skill society, you have a skill commissioner where it's like they are looking to close to around 40 million people they are trying to do like in skilling in another 5 years. But the chief minister's, I would say, stipend scheme, which is like probably pitched better than the government of India's stipend scheme. It supports the student, supports like a graduate, or maybe I would say the fag end of a graduation from 6 months to 3 years. So the entire skilling is being taken care of that. And even here, when the company is also coming in with the skill set, government also supports like subsidies, like you have like EPF for 5 to 7 years, 50% of the EPF is being contributed. And also there are like, we are looking at even for a bigger assembly, rental subsidies. When suppose there are examples like company has hired and gone for a rental. Suppose if I am going to build a parallel, I am going to hire a rental premises of 1 lakh square feet. Government is also ready to negotiate to subsidize basically rental is also one of the things which is going to dominate that. So that is another area we are looking at. The new policy is also looking for industrial housing for the particularly stuff. Because the consumer electronics, maybe downstream electronic products require a lot of manpower basically. Lot of man. At single location we need 3,000, 4,000 people. So that is another area which the government is looking at. The new policy probably we hope to be rolling out in the month of July. It's in the fag and the draft is ready. It is already put for consultation. Probably we will be also engaging with you for another input. And here also you can share with me in the input. Maybe you can also post queries or during the fireside chat, maybe 10 minutes. I am ready to whatever like opinion about whatever the government is looking at. That way government is there, and with partner like IACC and of course the great giant, great brother United States of America with us, we should be able to great in another decade. And we wish all the success for this entire, I would say, a conference, seminar, workshop. And again, I love to interact with you. Thank you. Jai Hind, Jai Maharashtra.
Thank you, Dr. P. Anbalagan, for that wonderful chief guest address. We will now move on to vote of thanks. A few words about our dignitary who will be giving the vote of thanks. He is currently the regional president of IACC West India Council and a senior partner at KKC and Associates LLP, an 86-year-old chartered accountants firm. He serves as an independent director in several listed and unlisted companies and is involved in various organizations, including core group member of the Bombay Chartered Accountants Society. He is a trustee of several educational trusts in Mumbai. Additionally, he is a member of the Advisory Committee on Mutual Funds at SEBI and the Expert Advisory Committee of ICAI. He has served on numerous prestigious boards, including the International Federation of Accountants, the IFAC, the Federal Bank, and the IRDA. He was the president of ICAI in the past. He was the chairman of SEBI's Qualified Audit Report Committee and has been a key figure in various committees, including the Corporate Governance Committee, chaired by Uday Kotak. Ladies and gentlemen, kindly get your hands together in welcoming Mr. Nilesh Vikamse. Welcome, sir.
I need to do this because of my height. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. It's indeed a privilege to deliver the vote of thanks for the inaugural session of this grand finale of the Semiconductor Roundtable Series 2025. The journey has taken us across Mumbai, Nagpur, Pune, Ahmedabad, and culminating today in a powerful convergence of policy, innovation, and investment. On behalf of the Indo-American Chamber of Commerce, I extend our deepest gratitude to all our dignitaries seated here and in the audience, speakers, partners, and participants who have made today and the entire series such a resounding success. Our heartfelt thanks to Dr. P. Anbalagan Principal Secretary, Industries, Government of Maharashtra, not only for his inspiring presence today, but traveling all the way to Pune on 20th March for joining us there for the roundtable over there, sir. Sir, your steadfast commitment to the state's industrial and semiconductor development has been tremendous. Your support has been instrumental in shaping this initiative. To Mike Hankey, the Consul General, U.S. Consulate General, Mumbai, many thanks, sir, for seeding this idea of taking up this roundtable and supporting us to do this roundtable. A very important, a part of our growth story for India. Thank you for your enduring partnership and championing the Indo-U.S. strategic collaboration in technology and innovation. Friends, just a side, it's not part of my vote of thanks. Wherever I go, I get a reference of Mike Hankey. I was in Baroda on Monday meeting the Alembic MD, and he was remembering me. So that's how Mike's tenure has been. I've met him at Uday Kotak's son's marriage. So he's been so involved in different facets of the India. So thanks for being here and supporting the Indo-US ties and the whole team, of course. Special thanks to our Honorable President A. Sekhar and Honorable Vice President Anup Acharya, who traveled from Chennai and Kolkata respectively today only to attend this program. So special thanks to both of you. To our chairman of the Ease of Doing Business Committee of IACC National Committee for his vision and leadership for spearheading this roundtable series, right from the initiation, the amount of, I've seen Saurabh closely for the Mumbai, the first meeting in Mumbai, then Nagpur, Pune, Ahmedabad, the amount of efforts, toil, getting the right people, the industry people, from the government, Dr. Anbalagan and all the other government nominees, the academia in Pune. I think, Saurabh bhai, many thanks. Your efforts have been tremendous. To our knowledge partner, Shardul Amarshal Mangaldas and company, and especially Radhika, thank you for your intellectual contributions and insightful engagements throughout the initiative. Friends, just to give you a glimpse, this is not again part of my prepared. I just was scanning through this was released today, the white paper. These are the learnings from the roundtable series we had, the proposed action points for addressing the issues, trends, challenges, and recommendation for the semiconductor industry. And with specific focus on awareness building, what is required in the skilling side, what type of investments are required, what type of incentives are required, what type of institutions will have to be accredited, what type of programs have to be done by the academia, the issues around supply chain and logistics, which is very critical for this industry, the need of different technology, and lastly but not the least, the suggestion on appointment of core steering committee, sir, for the state of Maharashtra is a recommendation, so that we take this initiative forward, this whole efforts of this round table, and it's just not restricted to this white paper suite, which will help us and build a very throbbing semiconductor industry in the country. We also extend a warm acknowledgement to Dr. Jared Monshen, Policy Advisor at the US Department, for joining us in this final and for lending his global expertise to the crucial discussions ahead in the Fireside Chat. Our sincere appreciation goes to our sponsors and partners, MIDC, which is Maharashtra Industrial Development Corporation, Kotak Mahindra Bank, who are the gold partners, our event partners, Amity University, Anand Rathi Wealth, Araya Bayaza, Ashibo Lifestyle, Bharat Diamond Bose, Bharat Reinsurance Brokers, CISB Services, Flame University, Maharashtra Institute of Technology, RRP Electronics, Software Technology Parks of India, Yashoda Healthcare Services, and Reliance Securities Limited. To all our partners, your support has made this platform possible and impactful. A warm thanks to our MC, Leanne Norona, the AV crew and hospitality staff at the Jio World Convention Centre for ensuring today's program runs smoothly. Finally, our sincere appreciation to the IACC leadership and the IACC Secretariat at the head office and at the West India Council for the invaluable support. Robin, who has been coordinating this program right from the first program at the Consulate. Sagar, Satish Sharma, Richa Bafna, Vishnu and Dhanashri at the WIC, Amol Ghadi. Your efforts behind the scenes have been pivotal in ensuring the success of this event. And to all our participants here, Thank you for being with us, asking the right questions, and keeping the momentum of these vital conversations alive. Before we conclude the formal proceedings, we take this opportunity to honor the two distinguished dignitaries for their exceptional contributions. May I request our National President A. Sekhar and Saurabh Shah, our Chairman of the National Committee of Ease of Doing Business or IACC, to kindly present a plaque to Mike Hankey, the Consul General, U.S. Consulate General Mumbai, in recognition of his outstanding contribution to strengthening the Indo-U.S. economic, technological, and diplomatic ties. We would now like to honor Dr. P. Anbalagan, Principal Secretary, Industries, Government of Maharashtra, for his visionary leadership, steadfast commitment to building Maharashtra's semiconductor industrial ecosystem. May I request Mr. Sekhar and Mr. Shah to kindly present the plaque as a token of our deep appreciation. Thank you once again. With this, we conclude the formal part of our inaugural session, and we now invite you to stay with us for the engaging fireside chat on blueprints for the future, building India's fabless and deep tech semiconductor ecosystem. Let the conversations continue. Thank you.
Kindly join us for a photo op. Yeah. Just 1 minute, yeah. Thank you, everyone. Thank you, Mr. Vikamse, for that thoughtful vote of thanks and for capturing the spirit of collaboration that defines today's gathering. With that, let's now shift our focus to a crucial conversation shaping the future of India's semiconductor ambitions. Looking forward to this wonderful fireside chat. We have our dignitaries who are planned to speak on this wonderful topic. I hope all of you all are ready and pay a keen attention to what's going to happen here on the stage. Depending upon the time, we will, of course, ask our august audience to pose certain questions to our dignitaries present on stage after the fireside chat is over, of course. Yeah, I have. Yeah, I have it. Yeah. Well, our topic for the fireside chat is Blueprints for the Future, Building India's Fabless and Deep Tech Semiconductor Ecosystem. Our moderator for this fireside chat is Ms. Radhika M. Dudat. Let's give her a huge round of applause. And our panelists include Dr. P. Anbalagan, IAS, whom you've already known. I gave you a brief introduction. Let's give him a huge round of applause. Welcome, Dr. P. Anbalagan. Dr. Jared Monshine, he's a policy advisor, U.S. Department of State. Let's give him a huge round of applause, ladies and gentlemen. A few words about Dr. Jared Monshine. He's a policy advisor in the Office of the Special Envoy for Critical and Emerging Technology. In this role, he engages U.S. allies and partners to strengthen the U.S. leadership on semiconductors, artificial intelligence, and other emerging technologies. He is on detail to state from RAND Corporation, where he leads studies and analyzes addressing supply chain challenges of emerging technologies. Jared earned his PhD in chemistry from Penn State University in 2018. Let's give them all a huge round of applause, and over to our moderator, Ms. Radhika M. Tudat, to take us forward. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you, Dr. Anbalagan. And thank you, Dr. Gerard Monshine. Today has been a wonderful day where we've heard so many experts and dignitaries speak about semiconductor industry and its future for India, as well as the collaboration as India and US will forge in the years to come. What I'd like to do is just have this opportunity. While I have written some questions here, please feel free to go off the topic of the questions that I'm asking even. So whatever that you would want to share. Because what we are looking out for is a dialogue between all of us. And then we'll, of course, open the floor to the audience to ask questions. So what I'll do is, in terms of a format, I'll just ask you questions alternately so that it will be convenient as well. I'd like to start with Dr. P. Anbalagan. We understand that the government of Maharashtra is formulating an electronic policy, has formulated an electronic policy, and is also coming up with a framework for the semiconductor policy for Maharashtra. What we'd like to understand is, what are the insights that you would like to share with us in terms of the vision that you have for Maharashtra and its role in the overall vision for India's outlook towards the semiconductor industry?
Thank you, ma'am. If I start with what exactly the country is looking at this sector. And we started with a very, very modest beginning. But in another 4 years, 5 years, we want to dominate, if not very big, at least reasonably. That is what the sizable number we are looking at. So if we look at semiconductor industry, which is going to touch $1 trillion mark by 2030, and India somewhere tries to play around 10 to 12%. It's what the initial estimate says that we'll be doing close to around 110 billion USD. That is what that. For that, I would say the India Semiconductor Mission, which is a main, I would say, the platform or a skeleton on which the country and every state, there are predominantly 4 or 5 states working on that to make the dream really come to, which the Honorable Prime Minister and also in our state, Honorable Chief Minister, striving very, very aggressively towards this goal. Even the current if you start with, I don't want to give any disconnect. If you start with the budget, 2025, if you look at the budget for electronics, semiconductor and information technology, I would say close to around almost 50% of jump from the earlier budget. There are predominantly three, I would say, the precise schemes which GOI is looking at. One would I say that electronics component manufacturing scheme, which is ECMS, which is going to get close to around almost 25,000 crore of rupees, Indian INR. Secondly is the modified semiconductor, basically a display fab assistance program, which is a phenomenal, almost close to 10 billion USD. That is what the estimates for that. Maybe supplementary also may increase the budget thing. And third is a Semicon India program per se, it's again close to around 76,000 crore. If you look at almost 2 lakh crore, it's going to be only pumped from, I would say, from Government of India in 1 year. This for 1 year, I would say. Secondly, to build upon that, so the government, GOI has come up with the PLI production-linked, performance-linked incentives, which predominantly looks at 3 or 4 states and 4 or 5 players, where like predominantly for an OEM, fab, and OSAT, and maybe like I would say a downstream vendor development. There are like 3 or 4 components which GOI is looking at, and states are building up. And Maharashtra being like a dominant player with another 2 brother or sister states, Maharashtra is going to play a dominant role, and we have already a policy in place. We have like our parent policy, industrial policy, which otherwise also supports every manufacturing, and which gives like industrial promotion subsidy from roughly from I would say from up to like 150%. And electronics being considered as a thrust sector by our state under the industrial policy. This is given a thrust sector, where for a fab and other related, you're also getting a capital subsidy. If I go for an example, GOI has an 2 lakh crore provision. Only GOIM for only about 2 or 3 units going to spend around 10 to 15,000 crore over like past 7-8 years. This is only, I'm saying, only for as a component of capital subsidies, intervention. So leave alone other GST, IGST, maybe other like grants, land grants. The state also has come up with like, because it also requires a huge chunk of land. For a fab facility and other thing, the policy aims to subsidize the land component, almost up to 50%. Even in like place like Mumbai, even in place like Talegaon, the lands are being given at the rate of like almost 25 to 50% of the land rate, which is already, MIDC rates are already off of the market rate. Even on that, again, you can multiply by another 0.5. So that is what the land subsidy is looking at, and it's also going to have a lot of water. So government is also pumping in, the policy aims to pump in like a great infra development. Typically, it needs an effluent treatment plant. It needs a huge like 30, 40 MLD of water every day. Fab needs a lot of water and gets the best of the water quality. So these are also being given, and government has set up a critical infra fund, which is 1,000 crore fund, which gives very specific grants for industry, like I would say the organizations like MIDC, to support an infrastructure for a fab unit. And this current policy, the current policy which is in the final stages, both in industrial policy 2025 and electronics policy 2025, it's already been drafted, it's ready, it's been under consultation. Probably that's what in my initial remark I mentioned, we are going to do that. So it is going to think totally a turnaround thinking on that, totally unconventional thinking. Here do we also look at only a benchmark like an investment. So we are also looking at a labor intensive units, assembly units, and also doing away the area differentiation. For an EV, for an electrical vehicle manufacturing, we have a category of A, B, C, D. A being the Mumbai, D being, I would say, Gadchiroli. If anybody understands like geography of Maharashtra. But electric vehicles, whether you invest in Gadchiroli, whether you invest in Mumbai, you are treated same. So that is what the importance the government is looking at. So we are also thinking to bring in that concept of anywhere in the state, you get the same thing. So it is convenience of the company, not the convenience of the government. So wherever the ecosystem is there, wherever it can nurture, so we are not like pushing that you go back to like some remote places. No, if you are going well, we will give you more than above. So if you are going to Gadchiroli, we can give 150%. But the benchmark which we are looking at the government is like we are treating at par, like, and we are also reducing the benchmark threshold investment level. That way, I would say land subsidies, IPS, capital subsidy, then you also have a power tariff reduction, and ease of doing business. We are also thinking, again, it's like, I won't say it's, we are thinking to bring in an act, particularly for electronics and white category of industries, where you go, like it's like a deemed approval. It is in the process of finalization. So maybe in another 3 or 4 months, you can get to see an act, particularly for an MSME. You start construction, you start commissioning, and you get a permission within 6 months to 1 year. So that is fair. And thirdly, the policy is also looking at to set up a venture capital fund. Though it's a modest fund of 300 crore, we are looking at 2 partners to take it up to like 500 crore to begin with. So we will also be investing into your tier 3. Any OEM is coming, there tier 2, tier 1 vendors are there, need to assist. The government is also chipping in the form of, like for a deep tech, we are chipping in the form of an investment. That way this policy is looking at a holistic thing. It's a phenomenal shift from thinking of any other states. And we are not looking at like states like other brother and sister states, we are looking into like countries. In fact, we are like to be competitive with locations like, I would say, there are friends from Taiwan, friends from Korea. We would be as competitive as to be like a Taiwanese or a Korean That's way. That is what the thinking in this policy. So you'll have a totally an unconventional shift from a policy perspective. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Doctor. This has been quite insightful. Dr. Jairaj, I'd like to now request you to share a few insights on the approach that the government of the United States has in terms of its own vision that it has for India. And in that regard, particularly, I'd like you to please share us your thoughts on trust. If you could tell us a little bit more about it, because this is something that we've heard in context of high-end technology and semiconductors.
Sure, happy to talk about that. And first off, thank you for having me for this fireside chat. Thank you for the opportunity to speak today, and thank you to my colleagues at the Consulate for hosting me here. This is actually my first time in India, and it's been such a great trip for me this past week. I've learned a lot. I've met with really impressive thought leaders at the national and state government, at the labs, companies, and universities. And so this has truly been an unbelievable experience that I'm really grateful for. In February, Prime Minister Modi came to Washington, and he and President Trump launched the next phase of the U.S.-India relationship. This was meant to drive transformative changes across defense, trade and investment, energy security, technology, and innovation. That one pillar of this relationship, technology, was centralized around this trust initiative to transform our relationship using strategic technologies. This initiative aims to catalyze government-to-government, academic, and private sector collaborations on a wide range of technologies. We tend to focus on artificial intelligence, semiconductors, quantum, biotechnology, energy, and space. We have come at this because we all face really key challenges with supply chains. We know that supply chain dependencies have led to really critical national security risks. And so the US perspective on the Trust Initiative is that we need to leverage our core strengths in technology to solve key challenges in technology and innovation that ultimately underpin our national security. From the State Department's perspective, our challenge is moving beyond talking. We're really good at hosting roundtables. We're really good at hosting dialogues between our governments, between our private sectors and our universities. We need to push forward. We need to drive towards concrete actions. We need to deliver on partnerships between our governments, our labs, and our universities that can transform the technology landscape and secure our joint future.
Thank you so much. Moving forward, Dr. Anbalagan, if we could, when we look at the framework for the semiconductor industry, a lot is also going to be dependent on the policy and the approach in terms of the legal framework. Some of this you have already mentioned in your first answer, but if you could just give us any thoughts or in terms of specifics of the framework, in terms of policy that you're looking at for this industry.
See, the Maharashtra Electronic Policy 2016 is already in use. It's like it has a continuity. And second, like Maharashtra Electronics Policy, like Maharashtra Electronics and Semiconductor Policy is going to come in 2022. 99%, I think 100% it's in July. It's in the final stage. It has typically any policy has like a fiscal and non-fiscal, and it has also component of EODB. And also, I would say, reduction of the compliance burden. Basically, more than the incentive, people are worried about the compliance. Basically, I think so. Mike also realizes, everyone realizes. So that way, this act looks at these with, I would say in tandem with the policy, the state is also willing to come up with Jan Viswas Act. I would say I'll dwell upon the policy on the lines of like GOI, federal government, union government. We're also trying to bring in Jan Viswas Act to also try to decriminalize all the minor offenses of typically not only in the industrial and overall relationships. So we are looking at like probably this, we should be introducing in this coming thing. We are all trying hard to bring it on. So that will reduce most of things. Secondly, the government of India also has a mandate to reduce, I would say, compliance burden. They have roughly around 72 sub-priority areas. They have around 22 priority areas. Out of that, you have 2 to 3 sub-priority areas for each, roughly around 75. But the state government is going beyond that. If you look at like TN, we look at Maharashtra, TN has around 44 acts or 42 acts. We also have 44 acts. And we are almost same. TN has around 697. Yesterday only we had like total 697 almost compliances, post-production, pre-production, continuity. And Maharashtra also, that both the good brothers are same, like almost we are 700, they are also 700. So the government is thinking that beyond, like you like for example, when I was, I would say the single quote an example, when I was heading the pollution control board, then you have a 3 category of industries. Green, you will have a orange, you will have a red, depending on their pollution potential. And all the application for that permission or a consent to establish there will be 13 pages, which has a 138 items. So for a green, which predominantly 60% of the units, I think 60%, which out of 1.2 lakh, 60,000 is only green category industries. 138 items, there are 100 and maybe 1 or 2 items are nil, and only 30 items are you have to fill. There is a nil, 90, almost 70% is a nil, and only 30% is a fill. But it's a central server. Somebody is filling an application in Nagpur. It comes 102 times to the Mumbai to serve connect, and it takes around 2 to 3 hours to fill the application. So we simplified it, made it 1.5 page document. They said we brought in an amendment in the thing. So now it takes around 20 to 30%. So on that, we are combining the, I would say, compliances, returns, monthly progress, all that we are trying to, and we are also looking at as a de novo, whether at all it is required. For example, I would say, setting up of a chemical industry is much easier than a setting up of a hotel, either in Chennai or Mumbai. Chemical industry requires only 9 permissions. In Chennai, it requires 21 permissions. In Mumbai, it requires 30 plus permissions. Setting up a hotel, like 20, we have only 20 rooms and you have a restaurant. So you need a permission for a water fountain. If you have a fountain inside, you have an outside, there is another permission. So we are totally, this is altogether ease of doing business, regulating this looking at. And as a policy, what exactly the investor is going to get, I would say in a fiscal benefit, which is going beyond 100%. It will go, if you go to Nagpur, you will get 110%. If you put up in Chandrapur or Gadchiroli, you can also go to 125%. If you go to remote places, we are also ready to negotiate. So this is not, there is not the full stop. There is also a comma. And we don't complete the sentence, we end up with and. So you are there to complete and I am there to come. So we are ready to negotiate. It's always a customized packages depending on that. For example, I'll quote an example of Hyundai, which has come from my own state. They are setting up of a unit in Talegaon. So they have, I would say, 18 vendors. So all the incentive which we are given to the major ultra mega, we are given to all the vendors. So this is a policy is also going to be for the electronics policy. Your vendors of your all mega projects also going to be treated as a mega project. So you will get 100% of your returns. Secondly, the threshold investment we are going to reduce. Looking at all that, at least for another 3 or 4 years, we are looking at only the investment. We are not looking at any we only looking at the cash outflow. We are considered only after 3 years. So that is another thing. And typically now, lot of Mitra, we have a Maharashtra Institute for Transformation. So lot of academia we are trying to engage in. CDAC, you have IIT Bombay, you have NIT, you have all these companies, COEP, all these companies. In fact, Mitra had an MOU with all that. So we are bridging in the gap in the policy also addresses the skilled workforce and academia, industry, collaboration, and also in a formalized, I would say, like we are also in a, I would say, GCC policy where GCC Council we are proposing. And typically here also Electronics and Semiconductor Council is going to be there. So every month or every 2 months, all the stakeholders, all the basically the industry patrons are going to participate. The policy can be always dynamic, so it can bring in changes. You do update, you improvise. That way it has everything. You have it's like a matrix. We don't give anything more than that. But only thing is our state always honors the commitment, and we have the capacity to honor the commitment. So our outgo is almost close to $1 billion USD every year only towards the incentive. Leave alone other thing. As only a GST refund is almost close to 7,500 crore, and we are selling it. So the state has a capacity to pay back whatever the commitments, and we are also ready to negotiate with them. So now we also have an electricity tariff, duty, you have a private industry coming up. It's the only state where private industry coming up. I buy the land for you. I do all the due diligence. I do the wakili. Basically, what you engage a advocate firm, transaction firm, you do all that 30 days notice. What I am doing, the government does it, charges you 5 to 7% and passes on to the land as a government land. So you are not to worry about that. So this policy addresses almost entire value chain, I would say entire 180 degree. I won't say 360 again, will come to the same. So 180 degree, entire stretch, we are going to do that. Thank you.
This is quite incredible, actually. It's going to be wonderful. Even as a lawyer, I can say that. So, Dr. Gerard, if you could please share, how the U.S. government is looking at fostering the U.S.-India cooperation in the emerging technologies, and also if there are any specific technologies you think that U.S. would look at India and concentrate on those technologies.
Thanks. That's a really great question. So, like all relationships, the U.S.-India relationship has its complications, but one of the core areas that we can all agree on is on technology and innovation, and the need to work together to become global leaders in supply chains, in manufacturing, and in talent. We're sitting right now in one of the global hubs of innovation and of manufacturing, because my new friend has already talked about. And there's so much excitement at the government level and at the local level, and we've been hearing about this. I've been hearing about this over the past few days. And so the United States is eager to work with the Indian government at the national and subnational level across technology areas. But just today, I immediately think about semiconductors as a core area, but also artificial intelligence and pharmaceuticals. In this region alone houses over 50% of India's data center capacity. American investments are pouring into the region. Indian companies like Reliance and the Adani Group have incredible ambitions for AI. The United States is the global leader in artificial intelligence, and as Vice President Vance said in Paris just a few months ago, the United States is committed to being the global partner of choice on AI. And so we have this great opportunity right now to combine America's strength in AI with India's ambition and the talent that's here. And so we're driving forward together on what we've called the U.S.-India AI infrastructure roadmap to identify challenges that our companies are facing to achieving India's ambition and solutions that we can work on together to overcome them. The second area that I'd like to talk a little bit about is on pharmaceutical supply chains. Both of our countries face challenges based on how the global supply chains look, in that we are both dependent on foreign manufacturing for active pharmaceutical ingredients. One of the lessons that both of our countries learned from the COVID-19 experience is that these foreign dependencies introduce core national security risks. And so under the Trust Initiative, the United States is eager to learn and tap into India's expertise, talent, and manufacturing capacity to strengthen our own supply chains and work together to strengthen the global supply chains and the global resiliency.
Thank you. And I mean, I think that's a great insight, because although we may be focusing on one industry here, it does bring about a chain reaction for so many other industries.
That's right.
Simultaneously. It's opening the roadmap. I'll just come to my last question for both of you, one at a time. Sir, has the government of India, government of India, have a roadmap for different states, in terms of what they will need to focus? And is the government of Maharashtra themselves focusing on any specific areas? One of the things that you mentioned was you're agnostic in terms of where they set up the industry. But do you have any thoughts in terms of, how you would like the industries to approach it, or guidelines for the industries in terms of the growth and development in the sector?
I would say I'll answer the second component of your query, particularly though we are agnostic, as I am, towards anything, so that way. Typically, we were Navi Mumbai, Nasik, this is a corridor we always dream. As far as electronic components concerned, so I was a collector in Nagar, and I traveled almost, that was long back, 2007. I used to travel from Nagar to Mumbai. From Ranjangaon to Talegaon always used to amaze me, even in 2007. Now that it's a wonderful area. So we thought that because entire automobile, entire defense electronics, consumer electronics, they're all been there from Sambhajinagar, I would say as well, Aurangabad, Nasik, Pune and Mumbai. But RRP Electronics has come in Navi Mumbai. Navi Mumbai, of course, as a traditionally TTC, Trans-Thane Creek industrial area, is almost very historically a very dominant player for us. RRP has come up as the great investment in OSAT, maybe one of the biggest investment in the country. So Navi Mumbai, and it's a vertical. Basically, we thought that you need 500 acres of land, 600 acres of land. So totally an unconventional thinking, and it was a surprise for us, because I was also instrumental in their beginning, because I was a CEO MIDC. They're from MAPE, MIDC area only. So if you look at the investment, they're looking 12,000 crore in the phase 1 and 24,000 in phase 2, 36,000 crore in OSAT. It's absolutely a mind-blowing number. And anybody thought of, I was telling in my initial remark, Ratnagiri. So we have a company is investing around 25,000 crore in Ratnagiri and already acquired 400 acres of land. And another company acquired a land in Mihan. Then they wanted only in SEZ. It's totally for an export. So I would say, if you look at, I had done due diligence for Foxconn Vedanta deal when I was a CEO. So I was with them for 4-5 days. I traveled to Talegaon. I interacted with all my electronics partners, and of course TSMC or someone else from, I think, Taiwan Chamber of Commerce or TEC is there. So absolutely, when I interacted with some of the technical persons from Foxconn, Anton, so nothing wrong in taking names, good for them. They're all probably all from Chennai. They said that ecosystem-wise, Talegaon, Chakan, Pimpri is 10x more than any location in the country. Any location in the country. I would say vouch for that. Talegaon, Chakan, Pimpri, Ranjangaon is 10x. I would say 10x ahead of that. The Navi Mumbai has developed. So Navi Mumbai is there. You have a Pimpri, Talegaon, Chakan is there. You have a Nasik is there. If you want all metro, a Nagpur is there, 0 mile. As a component for a logistic purpose, if you really want, because the state alone requires, I always say it's a very aggressive and very young nation. Almost 50% of the population in a working age group. More than that, I would say 65%, but still I would say 50. The largest democracy and the country with the largest number of young people, and we have a lot of middle class aspirations to own all modern things. So our own states, the country's demand and state demand become big thing. So Nagpur is in another area they should look at. Second question, I would say, I will also answer last part of your comment I would say the last question. It's not just semiconductor, though it's just it's a sector specific thing, so we are dwelling upon. We had a and so Mike, we had a quite elaborate discussion on that. This country has an elaborate plan for almost all the 20 to 22 sectors. Country has also identified the strength of, it's like a cooperative federalism. We are all sister states, so we all compete. But the government of India is like our parent is there to like support. Their parent, Mata, like mother, we're all like sisters or brothers. They're there to support. So we have a competition, but that is again within us. That's like everything. So the country has identified, like for example, the government of India has come up with a scheme of like competitive, I would say competition among like setting up parks for like medical tech park, for bulk truck park, or electronics park. So we got an electronic park. We're also going to get med tech park. So that way, country has a like very, very broad framework. We have a DPIT. The state, every state has now. Earlier, like, we used to have only the 4 hours. See, as an All India Service Officer, I also should talk for the country as a whole at times. So as a country also now, every state is aspirational. Every state is aspirational, and there is nothing wrong that investment is going to other states. But as a state from Maharashtra, we do every effort to keep you with us. That's what that. We have a very great roadmap for almost more than 15 sectors. The state has a policy, sector-specific policy. I would say policy for electronics, one is there. Policy for, you would say, defense, aerospace and space tech. There is a policy for circular economy. You have also, I would say, along with space tech, we are also including the nuclear technology, some are that. And we have a policy for MSME. And you have a venture capital for deep tech, you have a venture capital for ABCG, you have a ABCG policy, media and entertainment policy, there is a manufacturing policy, an API policy coming up, biomolecule policy coming up, biofuel policy coming up. You name a sector, and GCC and GIC, so you name a sector, name a vertical, and of course you have an IT policy, electronics policy, FAB policy. Every sector is being given a special, because we always want to work with an inclusion thing. So we don't want to exclude any small component. On an overall ambit of industrial policy, the MSMEs are given us. So we are also looking at a separate head of account for, even as an administrative purpose, from this year, MSME will have a separate account for like incentives. So there will be MSME thing. And also waste and waste handling is, circular economy policy is also coming up. So that way state is looking at as a holistic, and we are the only subnational economy with 50 billion, over 50 billion USD state GDP, and with an ambition of touching 1 trillion by 2029 to 30. With the 5 trillion, we should be looking at like 1 trillion from Maharashtra. It's like a 20% of that. And we are roughly around 19% of manufacturing. So we are aiming to go up to 25%. So that way, like state is looking at in all aspect, so I would say entire ambit we are looking at. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Dr. Gerard, if you could share with us what are the different initiatives that the U.S. government has in terms of trust to be able for India as well as the U.S. to achieve their own aspirations for the technological advancements?
Thanks for that question. So the most important part of the trust initiative is that we have a clear mandate from President Trump and Prime Minister Modi to work together on science, technology, innovation, and manufacturing challenges to get stuff done. As I said, we're really great at talking. We need to go beyond that. We need to drive towards key transformational change in how we do business, in how we manufacture products, and reorient supply chains, not only in terms of material resources, but also talent flows, student flows, how innovation occurs and where it occurs. And so that forms the core of the Trust Initiative. Our office in particular is leading on those two initiatives that we had just talked about on pharmaceuticals and AI infrastructure. And both of those initiatives, what they both have in common is that they leverage the core strengths that India and frankly this region already have. There's an amazing amount of talent here. There's an amazing amount of manufacturing capability here. And from the US perspective, all of that is critical not only to our national security, but to our mutual national security. And so we have a generational opportunity to work together towards that shared future in which the United States and India are both leaders in technology and innovation.
Thank you. Now we'll just request the audience to... Yeah, sure. Will they... You'll need my extra mic. Do you need this?
No, ma'am, extra mics. Just 2 questions because we're running out.
Yes, sure. If the audience, if you all have any questions for the... please just raise your hand so that we know. Yeah, please, go ahead. For the panel.
Good morning. Sir, question for you. So, one great takeaway for me was the broadening of my mind. I had a narrow-minded view that industries going to other states is a negative thing. I think what you just said is a very, very brilliant thing. It comes to India is important. Which state it goes to is secondary. So I think that I must thank you for opening my mind to that. That cuts down too much of debate that goes on. And yes, Maharashtra has been on top for decades. It's perhaps time for other states also to get their shares. So UP, Northeast, whatever you are seeing, the development, I think that's a great thing. So that's one, thank you. The question is for industries that want to be in Maharashtra for the talent which is there or the resources which is here, I mean, they can't go to other states because human resources, the kind of thing. The challenges one faces, like few years back, I know for a fact that Chakan had 7,000 applications pending for allocation of land. So land is a key thing, which it appears, I cannot say confidently, but which it appears other states like Gujarat, for example, are easier on getting land acquisition. So your comments on that, sir, what Maharashtra is doing for?
I would say in another, like I would say in a year, MIDC used to have around 2 lakh acres. I handled MIDC for 7.5 years as a joint CEO, 3.5 years, and as a CEO. So we acquired around 10,000 acres during my tenure in Aurangabad. The entire DMIC is there, and another 25,000 acres. It's not just Chakan. It's also the Raigad. So we have a 25,000 acres sitting just an hour from Indian Airport, where you have almost 15,000 acres is already under development, and almost more than 4,000 crore of rupees being pumped in to do the best of the infra. But anywhere in the country, if you see Auric city in Aurangabad, that is the best city anywhere in the country for industrial smart township. So on that and maybe much higher scale, we are looking at 25,000 acres of township in Raigad. So that should take away all the manufacturing, smart manufacturing. And we also acquired a land in Talegaon around 7,000-8,000 acres. We are looking to acquire another 10,000 acres. In between, I'll not tell the location because it becomes very difficult for me to acquire. I would say like it's an hour drive from Chakan, in between Nasik and thing. We are going to acquire maybe another 6 months. We are going to set up an electronics corridor. We are going to set up a defense corridor there between Ahmednagar, Nasik and Pune. There are 10,000 acres of land is going to come up. And between Malegaon and Nasik, another 10,000 acres. On Nagpur-Delhi corridor, another 10,000 acres. These 30,000 acres is only in 3 locations. And for other manufacturing, all alloys, melting, iron related, we have already notified 40,000 acres in Chandrapur, Gadchiroli. And Botipuri, Nagpur is fully filled. Now 4,000 acres being notified. And again, 100% is going to be filled another 6 months. So we are going to acquire another lakh acres in another 3 years. 1 lakh acres in another 3 years. So absolutely you will not have any issue of a land. And we are also bringing in transparency in land allotment. And particularly for a priority, we are ambit. So anybody who is investing more than 20-30 crores should not be in line. You should be given a land on priority. So that is what, and 24/7 you should be able to apply. Query-based algorithm we are going to develop, and absolutely you don't have any issue, so you will have an able land. That's not an issue. Thank you.
Can I actually,
Yes.
can I actually just come in really quickly? It's fascinating for me to learn that states here in India are also competing with each other to attract various industries. In the United States, it's a similar situation that our states are also competing to be the home of these industries, particularly the semiconductor industry, but you also see it in automobiles and other sectors. And so I think this is actually a really interesting opportunity to learn more about how both of our countries and the states within our countries interact on this. And I think this is an opportunity within trust to break beyond our capitals and allow our state and local governments to engage and learn how we can incentivize innovation and technology.
Thanks. We'll just take the last question. You said 2. Okay, that's it. Oh, thank you very much, everybody. And this has been a wonderful journey for us. And I thank the organizers, the entire team of IACC on behalf of the team and I. That's Priyanka Dhwani sitting there. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir. Thank you.
We would now like to felicitate Dr. Jared Monshine. I would request Mr. A. Sekhar, National President IACC, and Mr. Saurabh Shah, Chairman IACC National Committee on Ease of Doing Business, to present a plaque to Dr. Jared Monshine. Let's give a huge round of applause. Gentlemen, let's have a photograph, please, together with Ms. Radhika. Let's give Ms. Radhika also a huge round of applause for moderating this wonderful session. And also thanking Dr. P. Anbalagan, IAS, for giving his wonderful inputs on the topic of blueprints for the future, building India's fabulous and deep tech semiconductor ecosystem. Thank you so much, dignitaries. We now have a knowledge session. Yeah. All right. Thank you so much. Yeah. I have a knowledge session on the topic of enabling India's semiconductor growth, treasury, forex, and risk solutions. Okay, we'll have a quick photograph. Yeah. Yeah, Mr. Anup, Mr. Nilesh, sir, please join us on stage. Okay, okay. All right. Yeah, all right. Yeah. I would request our speaker for this knowledge session, Ms. Nidhi Kaushik, Senior Vice President, Treasury and Forex Management, Kotak Mahindra Bank Limited, to kindly join us on stage. Let's give her a huge round of applause. Ms. Nidhi comes with a rich banking experience of over 15 years with expertise and specialization in treasury and forex management. She has been associated with Kotak Mahindra Bank Limited for past 11 years, growing through the ranks and heading the business in Mumbai as on day. Ladies and gentlemen, let's give her a huge round of applause. Ms. Nidhi Kaushik, Senior Vice President, Treasury and Forex Management, Kotak Mahindra Bank. Thank you, ma'am. Welcome.
Thank you so much. Yeah, you're sure. Good morning to all distinguished leaders, diplomats, and industry pioneers. It is both an honor and a privilege to address such a diverse and impactful gathering at IACC. The convergence of government, semiconductor industry, global capability centers, and international diplomacy under one roof signals a powerful moment for our industrial revolution as we are on. India today stands at a defining crossroad of geopolitically trusted, digitally bold, and demographically advantaged place for industry. From semiconductors to GCCs, Indo-U.S. corridor is no longer just a trade bridge, it's a technology and talent superhighway. We are seeing historic convergence of intent, government incentives, corporate investments, and global trust in Indian execution. And at Kotak, we are glad that we get opportunities to partner with all of you. We have at Kotak not only been a part of an industrial journey, in fact, I was glad to hear Uday Kotak's name thrice before even being mentioned for our capabilities, just for our presence. And we thank Uday for being a pioneering name in the industry. Right from 1985, when he has set up his own bill discounting firm, to 2003 when we got license for Kotak Mahindra Bank, and to today when we own 60 subsidiaries in all, which not only defines us as a banking partner, but a financial conglomerate which provides all kinds of solutions which are related to any kind of ease of execution in terms of business. I just heard Dr. Gerard mentioning that it is also important that we bring things to ground and execution. And I totally embrace that idea. And we at Kotak have actively been working with semiconductor industry for last 2 years. We are a corporate member of ELSINA, which is a government initiative towards the industry per se. And as a bank, we have customized or kind of tailor-made a lot of solutions for many upcoming industries, not only to, obviously, to gain business, let's be honest, but to also be productive facilitators of making life easy. And another mention I heard of was of AI. So we are a proud user, utilizers, and providers. So we use within our organization for ease of operations and for qualitative advancement towards that. We are a utilizers. We utilize this in creating products, creating knowledge, using data to create meaningful solutions, and providers, because we actively provide digital solutions, not only for inception, but also for operationalization of your day-to-day work. 811 in 2014, when nobody was actually talking about technologically or online onboarding of banks, Uday came up with an idea of disrupting the whole environment by bringing on 811 as a solution for banking, wherein sitting at your home, you can open an account just by being on your mobile. And believe you me, in times of COVID and demonetization, it helped like a boon to every Indian. And the partnership, or say, inception from the Indian citizenship we got in terms of onboarding was fantabulous. Simultaneously, the evolution of GCCs, we have come across solutions for particularly the service sector industries, where technological solutions find not only an aid in ease of operation, but also saving time, which is the most essential thing today for all of us. So I won't take much of your time, as I understand that we are in a time shortage currently. So to fully utilize this potential, we need more insights from you. We would like to partner with you. My team is present, where Mr. Abhishek Jiju, who heads our affluent business piece, and Ms. Zeni Khanabar, who heads the treasury and the forex piece for Bombay. She is present here. I would like you to please help us gain insights on how to be of more use and for a quicker availability of products for this particular industry. We are a keen and a hungry bank in terms of bringing in innovative solutions which are for the aid of the industry. Thank you so much once again for this platform, and let us make a collective commitment to make a high-value cohort and an enduring force for innovation, impact, and execution. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Ms. Nidhi Kaushik, for that wonderful knowledge session. Let's give her a huge round of applause. Well, ladies and gentlemen, we come to the close of this grand finale. We thank you for your presence and participation. We take this moment to extend our sincere gratitude to our sponsors and partners who made this series possible, beginning with our gold partners, Maharashtra Industrial Development Corporation and Kotak Mahindra Bank Limited. Our event partners, Amity University, Anand Rathi Wealth Limited, Araya by Aza, Ashivo Lifestyle.com, Bharat Diamond Bourse, Bharat Tree Insurance, Brokers Private Limited, CISB Services Private Limited, Flame University, Maharashtra Institute of Technology, Mumbai, RRP Electronics Limited, Software Technology Parks of India, STPI Pune, Yashoda Healthcare Services Private Limited, and Reliance Securities Limited. Let's give all our partners a huge round of applause. I hope you all enjoyed this wonderful, exciting session here, ladies and gentlemen. With this, we break for the networking lunch, and we invite all our guests present here to please network with each other during this time. This is your MC, anchor, and host, Liana Rona, signing off. Thank you so much.